One of the reasons why Africa starves is because the leaders in power take the land. They come into the government, and through the corruption, they gain land that was previously owned by the government. They find a piece of land, put it in their name, their family name. The local chiefs and what they call traditional leaders come in on the deal. Now you get somebody from UAE or some Arab country come into the country and say, hey look, can we use the land to raise cows on? We're going to ship our cows to Turkey or to UAE. So this guy leases his land to these people. And he's making $1 million from land that he stole, his family stole. He doesn't invest that money into building a factory in the country. He goes to China or India, and he gets India to come in and put up a store in the country. And he get a bribe from bringing that store in. He might even import some of the goods himself and give it to his fellow Africans to sell it. And the amount of money that they're making from selling his products for him is minuscule. He might sell $100 in products, and he's paying his fellow African $1. They don't build anything in Africa. They go to the UN and say, hey, we need a road so we can export these raw materials to your country. Whether it be England, France, Germany, wherever. The UN brings in the money and say, hey, okay, here's the money, build the road. Instead of that 3 or 4 lane road that was supposed to be built, he builds a dirt road. Keeps the rest of the money. And every about 10 years or so, you go back and do the same thing. And the UN comes in and brings the money, and the money gets divided up between the leaders in the country, and no roads are built. It's a deliberate act of not improving the country, and they're making money off the poverty of the people in the country. They are getting rich while the people in the country are starving. And they will go all over the world preaching about how bad things are in their own country. That's how they're getting the money to come in. In some places, you got foreigners coming in and building hotels and safaris, you know. But the local people getting that $1 paycheck, $1 a day paycheck. are not getting anything benefit from it. They're bringing in tourists from abroad who are paying money into their accounts abroad. They give the local chiefs a couple of dollars. They give the local government a couple of dollars. But nothing is built to improve the country. No health care, education. In Nigeria, there's something called Japa, where those who get an education leave the country to go work abroad. Nigeria should have some of the best hospitals in Africa. People should be coming from Africa, all over Africa, going to hospitals in Nigeria, because they have the best doctors in that hospital. All the wealthy people should come to Nigeria instead of going to Europe. But it's not going to happen. Why? The leaders don't build anything in Africa. And it is deliberate. But they blame. You see, they still call them colonialists. They blame the colonialists for their actions. The colonialists are keeping us from developing our... No, they're not. You got $1 billion in a bank account in London and France and Germany that was stolen, that you were given money to build roads and hospitals and schools. Now granted, the amount of resources that the European took out is more than the money that they gave you. But if you take the little money that you were given and build one road at a time in every village, one clinic in every village, in 60 years you would have 60 roads in every village in the country. 60 clinics in every village in the country. You have one hospital, one big hospital that can take care of everybody in Africa in your country. You build one farm per year, you would have 60 huge farms that would feed all the people in your country. But no, you don't do that. And that's the problem. One of the reasons why Africa has not developed and will continue to be not developed. Like I'm saying all the time, there is no promised African century. There's only talk about it. But the people who are talking about it are not doing anything about it. The Africans themselves are not doing anything about it. You can't even get a passport in Uganda that will allow you to land in Tanzania without going through a hassle. If you fly from California, if you got a US ID, you fly from California to New York, you walk right off the airplane without any problem. Same thing if you're going from New York to Texas. You get off the airport in Texas, walk out the door and get your taxi without a problem. No immigration person saying, where are you coming from? What are you doing? Give me $10, or otherwise I'm going to put you back on the airplane and send you back to New York. Nothing like that. You cannot do it in Africa. And the AU has been in business for how long now? How long? You got people from you got people from India making loans in Africa at 20% to poor women, sucking the energy out of the country. There's just one billionaire from Bangladesh who is saying, well, they made him president of Bangladesh now. One of the biggest banks in the world that nobody hears about. Off of the backs of poor people, especially poor women now. And the UN is always pushing about these women and children. But nobody goes to him and say, hey, you're taking advantage of the women. These loans that you making 20%, that's ridiculous. 20% interest off a poor person who is trying to make a living for their family. By the time they grow a crop, all the money that they make, if the crop survives, you take it. And the UN is praising these people. The British are praising it. French praising. Making loans in Africa. The African governments are not putting these people out of business because they're making a deal off it, making money off of it. The wickedness is going to keep Africa from not only prospering but surviving. I heard Professor Lumumba say that Africa is going to go back into slavery. Sir, I listen to you all the time. I hear what you say. But Africa is already enslaved. So all the people from the diaspora who listen to me, we are going somewhere with this. You are expecting Africa to prosper, but I'm telling you, unless the diasporans come and build Africa, it is not going to get built. Unless you come as a community, you might come 10 at a time and buy 1,000,000 acres. After a while, you're producing crops that are going to be sold all over Africa. If you're going to do that, that's the only way Africa is going to survive. And if you try doing that, you're going to be a war against the leaders. Because you're coming home, they sold your family without the expectation that you're going to come back and rebuild. They're going to feel threatened. They are going to feel threatened because it is a threat to them. They don't want their people to grow up. Why do you think Africa has this young population? Because all the elders are killed off. People don't go around and shoot them, but the food kills them, the lack of health care kills them. I hope you're listening now. This thing is getting serious. You are not looking at it as serious as it is. Have a great day wherever you are. Peace.